We are on to Peacemaker, episode 5 here in season 2. Let's talk about it. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Welcome back into JC's Movies, where you can see all kind of movie and TV show content with me, JC, particularly comedy, horror, and definitely the superhero genre, especially the DCU. So if that's something you're a fan of, be covering the DCU here on the channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, get some of that content directly into your feed, especially the Peacemaker recap episodes, which we'll be bringing every Friday, continuing that today. So wanted to hit you guys with that reminder. And if you would, just one more reminder, take a second out if you're watching this, hit that thumbs up button. That helps us out with the YouTube algorithm, helps us find more fans of the DC universe like yourself. With that being said, and no further ado, let's get into it. Let's recap episode 5 of Peacemaker. All right, Peacemaker, season 2, episode 5, Back to the Suture. Another clever title. Seems to be a theme throughout here. This one, yet again, written by James Gunn, but we got another director stepping in this time, Althea Jones, directing this episode, which starts off with a cold open and a flashback. So we go back to 3 years ago, and it's a flashback to Rick Flag's funeral to open the episode. And basically the main piece of info we need to get from that before they head into the dance sequence and the intro, and then get into the episode where we go back to present day, is that actually at that funeral, we see that Harcourt promised General Flag, Rick Flag Sr., that she would make whoever, killed Rick Flag pay. I don't know at that point if she knew that it was Peacemaker or not. I'm not 100% sure on that, but interesting turn there in the open, especially with everything that we knew that was at stake with the cliffhanger ending we had for episode 4, with an ending with her needing to, essentially set him up to get her job back, which is where we are after the intro, which I got to say, man, I still like the intro. I think it's good, but man, I really like season 1 a lot more. I don't think I ever skipped season 1, maybe very rarely. This one, I think I watched once or twice, and I've kind of been skipping it since then. It's not bad. I just really preferred season 1. That music seemed like a lot more fitting for it. I don't know. That's just my opinion, though. Nonetheless, episode gets going. We're back to the present day after that cold open. And the thing is, once we kind of show up right there at the park where they're supposed to be having the meeting, we see she's wearing the wire. We see, Flags there walking around the park. We see the other Argus agents there. We see Judo Master up with a gun, ready to shoot Chris on sight. But the thing is, when he shows up, you can tell, like, okay, he knows something's up. And Rick Flag realizes he knows something's up because he won't walk by himself. He's constantly like getting near some of the pedestrians that are there, some of the citizens that are there, because he probably knows that they've got a sniper on him, which is Judo Master in this case. And then finally makes his way over to Harcourt, pulls the wire off of her, so you do know, okay, for sure he knows what's going on. Flip sides with her so that the Judo Master doesn't have a clear shot there as well. And basically then we learn right here that he wasn't even supposed to show up at the end of the last episode. When we see their text exchange and she says copacetic, that's a secret word that they had. There was a warning word for him, and he wasn't even supposed to come. And so the reason that he does show up is just simply to ask her about if their night together meant anything to her. That's literally the only reason that he went there, and doesn't get the answer that he's looking for. She says it didn't mean anything. It was drunk, stupid mistake or whatever. And so obviously he's, depressed about that, sad about that. And that leads to kind of the end. It's a good bookend of the episode here. Once we get to the end, you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyways, goes through that. And then, of course, the Argus agents close in as he tries to escape. Looks like he's going to make it out. And then we see Bordeaux, who we see all of a sudden has, this mechanical eye thing, has it locked on him can tell him what percentage of chance her shot has. And she's about to take the shot, and pretty much she's going to kill Peacemaker. And so instead, Harcourt runs in, knocks out Peacemaker like we've seen her do in them damn bar fights, throughout the early parts of the season. And Argus takes him in and captures him. So, in his eyes, she, beat his ass and allowed him to get captured, but really she was saving him, kind of unbeknownst to him. And so multiple cases, it's interesting because you're getting two sides of Harcourt here, right? From like, you're seeing from Peacemaker's perspective, you can see why he's upset and why he ends up making the decisions that he does. And then of course, from her perspective, you can see actually she does care. And I think she's lying and stuff about the shit that she said about it not mean anything to her. Just my personal opinion. So once he's captured and gets back to Argus, basically he's there for Rick Flag Sr. to not only beat him up, but potentially probably kill him. So obviously they're not going to book him into the system so that then he can go to jail and see that he's been beat up or whatever. They're just going to do this. This is all kind of off the books type shit, right? So Rick Flag gets him into an interrogation room, tells the other two Argus agents to take his cuffs off and tells them to leave the room. While that's going on, we see a conversation between Harcourt and Economos where she's telling him, hey, if you go onto the computer and book Chris into the system, he might save his life and shit. And he's like, they're gonna know it's me. And she's like, so they're gonna what, fire you for doing your job, for, obeying the law. So, he's like, all right, I'll do it or whatever. And while that's all going on, flashback into the room, beating the shit out of Chris, wanting him to fight back, but he won't fight back because he feels, like he deserves it for what he did. He talks about how it beats him up every day, killing Rick Flag. So he's just sitting there taking it. And so basically, he's probably just going to get his ass beat until he dies and shit. Right. Until Bordeaux catches that Economos is booking him in the system. She runs in, tells him, boom, stops that. So then not only, do they have to release him because they can't take him to jail. Now he's been booked. They can't let him go to the jail looking like that and then it come back on them. So they have to release him. So they release him. And I think it's Judo Master tracks Chris. I actually jotted down some notes this time. I probably should have done this more often. But Economos essentially saves Chris's life in that situation by booking him in to the jail system. Judo Master tracks and follows him back to the place, the cabin there, of course, where they've got the portal, where they moved the portal to in the previous episode. And then while this is going on, kind of the B story is you got the Eagle Hunter still after Eagly. He's there while all that's going on, hunting Eagly, tries to kill him with like a poison mouse. Instead, another animal gets it, eats it, and dies. And that, I think, kind of keys Eagly into what's going on, because then they almost set up the Eagle Hunter. He shoots an eagle. You think he's killed Eagly. And then all of a sudden, more eagles start showing up. And then Eagly shows up and it does that shit that it did when he was doing the tripping thing and it had him all lit up. And it's like he realized Eagly is the prime eagle. But then a whole shit ton of eagles just kill the Eagle Hunter's ass. So I guess that's the end of Michael Rooker's brief cameo here in these few episodes where we got some decent comedy. But speaking of the comedy, I think these past two episodes have really been pushing the story forward a lot, but they've still been, good comedy mixed in there. Vigilante was funny in this episode. You got some great comedic exchanges again from Tim Meadows' character of Flurry and Judo Master in this episode. I think he called him, he's been calling Economos GC Ginger Cool, which he hates. That's why he spit in his face last episode. Now he was calling Judo Master Duncan Munchkin or some shit like that. I don't know, but Tim Meadows is comedy gold in this show for sure. So after they kill Eagly, we're back to kind of Chris's story here, where we realize what his plan is. He's writing out a note. He's leaving for Adebayo, which he's writing there. We see him start to write it. We don't get to see what the note says. That kind of comes later on in the episode. But not only is he heading into the portals are already there, but he's setting up that alien silver briefcase looking shit that we talked about in the last episode. You're like, well, wonder what he's doing with that. And then it starts to dawn you, oh, he's closing it behind him, so he can't even come back. That's why he's leaving a note and stuff. And of course, about that time, Judo Master's seeing all this through the window, comes into the house, tries to call Flurry and tell them about it, but where he's near that thing that's open, they can't hear him on the phone. So he writes on a note, he said, follow it into the portal. So that then they're going to know Judo Master's in there as well. But Judo Master follows him in. Portal closes behind him. Adebayo and Vigilante pull up not long after that. She gets the note. They leave just before the Argus agents come because obviously Judo Master had told them. Then we get to the part where the note that he left, she reads to the friend group. Nice little emotional moment there. That's what I love about Peacemaker. It brings you both the comedy and the heart all at once. So she reads the note to all the friend groups, Economos, Vigilante, she's there, and of course, Harcourt is there. And we also learn while reading that note that he left them that alien briefcase shit that they used to move the portal and open the portals. And Adebayo's seen him use it, so she thinks that she knows how to use it. She tells Harcourt, and Harcourt says, that's what we're going to do then. Because in his note, he had told him, turn it into Argus, help yourselves. Maybe they can use it, shit like that. And, basically that conversation, that scene kind of ends with Harcourt saying, nah, fuck that. We're going to use this to bring Chris back. And that's their plan. And that's kind of where that story ends right there with Harcourt saying they're going to bring it back. And then the kind of very last end, I guess the tail end of the episode there, the button of the episode, I guess you could call it, of episode 5 here, which was another good one. I think they've all been great. James Gunn did a phenomenal job yet again writing this season. But you just see Peacemaker in the new universe the other dimension, his brother's there. He's got Eagle. He's like, where'd you get the Eagle? He said, oh, I found him. He's a rescue. He's going to be my new sidekick. And, he just kind of laughs and is like, come on, we got to fight off a kaiju. And then you don't get to see him fight off the kaiju, but you see a news report on the screen saying that they stopped it. Then you see Peacemaker walking in, suit a little battered, and you see Harcourt there, and then they're running and to hug each other, and that's kind of how the episode ends with him and Harcourt in that dimension. And Chris is officially in that dimension. Who knows how long it's going to take him to get back to our main one? Will he be back by the time this thing ends up here in a few episodes? I don't know, but man, is the story getting good. And I'm super excited here to get into these final few episodes because I think James Gunn said it was like episode 6. Of course, I think it was like 5, 6, and 8 that are super important. I can see why 5 was. So we got the next one, and then I think 8, he said, is very important for the DCU, which we'll be covering here on JC's Movie. So super excited about that. Another good episode, great laughs, great heart, and really push the plot forward. Can't wait to see where this thing goes. Can't wait to be back and recap another Peacemaker episode with you guys again next Friday. So there you have it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours as well. If you've been tuning into season 2, let me know your thoughts overall and definitely your thoughts here on episode 5 down in the comment section. Appreciate those interactions as I continue to try and grow the JC's Movies channel here on YouTube. Be back with another Peacemaker episode recap next week, guys. Looking forward to it. Appreciate you guys tuning into this one, and I will catch you on the next one.